If you like the Memphis Grizzlies and also basketball, this is the Daily Grind. So thank you all. Oh my God, I just peaked. I've never been
best one yet.
The best one ever.
One yet.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind, everybody. I am Luke. I'm wearing my spectacles today, and I feel like a dork next to this guy, next to my buddy Rusty, who looks crisp and clean. You looking good, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. I appreciate it. Enjoying this rainy Tuesday here in Martin, Tennessee for the time being. A little foreshadowing as I am coming back to the 901 in about a month's time. I'll be back in the neighborhood, back in Memphis. Shit. Cannot wait. First official announcement, dude. I am stoked to be in Memphis. Yes, sir.
Like Let's for good?
For good.
Because I was like, this you started telling the story, and I was like, this is a real weird way to announce a trip if it's not like a. I was like, I don't know if. I guess that's cool, man. Yeah, weekend trips are cool, but no, dude, that's awesome. Are you?
Yeah, dude.
God,
so stoked, man. So stoked. I love Memphis. I left Memphis in 2015. I've always said I'm going to come back. I'm going to find my way back to the 901, and this is my opportunity to get back. I'll be back early May, living in East Memphis. Y'all come see your boy. We'll be out and about. So stoked to be there. 2024 is our year. It's our year. Let's go. Yes, sir. Let's go.
Let's do it. But it hadn't been the Grizzlies' year so far to start out with. Segue. They are doing okay. I was writing an article this morning about the game tonight, and they literally signed a new 10-day guy while I was writing the article named Jack White, who I thought he was a member of the White Stripes, but apparently not. I don't know what to. We have 13 guys out in the game tonight. 13. Goodness. The only guys on actual contracts playing are Gigi and Brandon Clark.
Goodness.
Everybody else, 10 days, 2 ways. Everybody else.
Jeez. Man, that's wild.
Well, and so we could sweep the series. We won't, but
yeah,
it's been like, I was looking at them this morning. So Ja played in the second game against them. It was that was one of the games where our entire team was together and we demolished them. He dunked on Wemby. It was everything.
Yep.
The third, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and it's been all downhill from there.
Yes, it's been all downhill from there for us, whereas Wemby's gone on a tear since then. Mm-hmm. You know, like we barely beat them, 2 weeks ago?
Right.
And I just don't think it – I don't know. We literally don't have anyone big enough to do anything against Wemby. We just don't physically have him.
Yeah, I agree. We don't have anybody that's in the post that's going to be big enough to root him out, to be tall enough to get their shot over. We're a 4.5-point home dog, and that's probably I would smash that 100%.
Yes, I would too.
I just don't think we're going to win this game at all. We've got 27 wins. We ain't getting 28 tonight. That's for sure.
No, I don't think we might not win a game the rest of the way.
Probably not. We'll be back in the building on Sunday for the Nuggets game. We're going to get throttled on that. I mean, at this point, we've mailed it in. We've got 2 games left, and it's just like
Cleveland.
We could beat Cleveland. We could, but are we going to have 13 guys out again because we're signing the NPCs from NBA 2K now, right? With Jack White coming on board. No offense, Mr. White. I'm sure you're a hooper, but we don't have any NBA players playing. We were there Saturday night. Little spoiler alert for some of our segments coming up. They got to watch some professional basketball players play, but Joel Embiid didn't play again in the second half. They don't need to.
Yeah. Oh man. We'll talk about that later. So. It's weird too because we are just signing these random, but I don't know. I don't see any rhyme or reason to it. Like the Allen kid, he is it just isn't. I looked at. There's nothing that jumps out and screams he's a good hooper. I know. And he's under 6'6" for a forward. It seems like they're trying to make it to the end of the year.
That's it. We just need a pulse. We are trying to we need a pulse, we need a body, and we're trying to set the bar high enough with enough contracts played this year that we will go down in infamy as the team with the largest margin of victory in NBA history and the team with the most players played in NBA history. Your Memphis Grizzlies.
32? Is that, I think with
30.
With Jack White,
33. He's 30. He'll be 33.
Man, if they can I'll be 34 this year. If they can sign one more guy,
man,
that's
call him up. Climb it. I need a contract. I need 34 players. Let it be me.
Oh my God, that would be the best birthday present ever. I'll come in and shoot some spot up threes. At least one would go in, maybe.
Maybe.
Do you think? I mean, I think all that to say, I'm intrigued to see what Jenkins does tonight.
Yeah.
I think the fact that some of the games we've won and some of the games that we've lost but have been competitive in with the personnel that have played, It's impressive, and I've seen all after last night's NCAA championship. I've been seeing everybody talking about Hurley, the coach from UConn, trying to get him to make the move in like a year or two if we get rid of Jenkins. And I have not, and I'm a pro Jenkins guy. He hasn't done anything that I think deserves firing yet at all.
And it's well established that I am a pro Jenkins guy. I'm also critical of Coach Jenkins. I'm kind of I'm both. Like my esteemed shorter colleague from the 2 Buck Sports Show always gives me crap about it, but like I can see objectively, Taylor Jenkins is doing a phenomenal job this year with the crap he dealt, the deck he's been dealt, and there's still some rotation questions when we're fully healthy. I don't think he's done anything that like is going to be enough that in the next year to 2 years he's out barring something egregious. Now, next year, if we're fully healthy and we finish at the bottom of the Western Conference, that's a different conversation, but there's zero chance that's going to happen. We're going to be too talented. I mean, Hurley would be a phenomenal, follow-up because, man, those guys, UConn was inevitable, right? They were like Thanos this year. They were inevitable. And they looked every bit of the part last night. Miss me with this. Edey is better than Klingon talk. Edey's feet are concrete. He can't move. Reminds me of like super throwback for the Grizz, Brian Reeves. He wears concrete shoes, can't move, can't shoot that great outside of the paint. He's not going to be able to set up shop in the paint like he did in his tournament. And Klingon out athletic him all night long. It was just a phenomenal display.
Klingon has had one of the best tournaments of any big man I can think of in recent memory. He's just playing. He's such an athletic dude.
Yeah, and that's why he fits. He would fit as my great co-host here. Luke has written an article that he posted on Grizzly Bear through the Grizzly Bear Blues on BluffCityMedia.co. Check it out. Great article about why he would fit in Memphis. So good. He's athletic. He runs the floor well. He sees the floor well. He passes like a la Marc Gasol, who we'll talk about here in just a little bit. Just a great extra guy to see the floor. Would be a great Memphis Grizzly.
Well, and I keep hearing the argument, I don't want to start a rookie center next to Jaren. And it's like, I haven't seen many freshman rookie centers play like this kid does,
100%.
where they come in with this type of athleticism and they're able 100%. To block 10 shots. And blocking 10 shots is crazy.
Yeah, I got ridiculed by a good friend of mine on Twitter for making this comparison, but he is like a skinny Marc Gasol. Like he's very cerebral. He passes very well. He's a smart basketball player. He's not going to make dumb decisions. He doesn't get himself in foul trouble. He doesn't turn the ball over, and he's just always in the right spot defensively, just like Big Spain was for us. And so seeing that, like he's not a lug like we might have had in Steven Adams and like people might want to replace him with. But the dude is just freakishly athletic and could go up against a guy like Victor Wembanyama, who we're going to see tonight to bring it full circle and be competitive,
But also beating the Zach Edeys of the world too. Like he can beat the lugs and as well as the lugs, but also play like the athletic bigs. I don't know. I don't know why more people aren't talking about him. I think people are all caught up in this is a bad draft and they're getting the overseas kids that they're like ignoring a lot of these guys. I think Klingon's
fine. Fine, let him fall to 6'7". Climb and make that call. I'm sure he's sitting there salivating if he does fall to 6'7", wherever we end up.
It would make his life so much easier if he did. It would just be, he'd be like, oh, thank God it all worked out.
That's it. But if we keep the pick,
we don't need another young guy. I mean, so talking about Jenkins, what if Jenkins' his ceiling is competitive playoff team and you can get good development from guys? But that is the one argument I've heard is that maybe that's his ceiling. That maybe he's just not, he's not able to actually be the guy that gets them over the hump. And I mean, that we don't know. No.
That's what I've said. That's what I've said all along. I don't know that he's a guy that's going to bring us that championship. He's in that Pop coaching tree. He came up in Pop system. They run a similar one in Milwaukee. He's a great player developer. Obviously, that's where we are. But when crunch time happens and Jaren's got 4 fouls and we're in a tight game and he's sitting on the bench, it's like, bro, what are we doing? That is our best player, especially this year. It'll be even more glaringly obvious next year. But like these lineup rotations and these player personnel decisions he makes in game and the adjustments or lack thereof can be frustrating. And that's what keeps you from being a championship caliber team. A coach in the NBA doesn't necessarily make or break most games, but when it comes to playoff crunch time and you're subbing guys in and out, strategically it's huge. And so, maybe he's the number 2 seed, second round exit kind of guy. again, for most franchises, that's a quality in and out season.
Yeah.
And for Memphis, we'd be happy with that. But we're going to be too talented over the next 3 to 5 years to not be, coming over that hump,
Yeah. I think it might be too simple, but I think it boils down to the fact that he never played hoops. He never hooped.
Yeah. You got to get a feel for the game.
To understand those rotations and to understand that, hey, he's got 4 fouls. He's fine. Yeah. It's such a little thing, but
real quick plug, shout out Sean Coleman from the Bluff City Network. I saw him put this on Twitter a few weeks back. In the last calendar year, Jaren has more 40-plus point games than he does foul outs. So, he has 4 fouls. Trust the guy, though. He's just as likely to go for 40 as he is. He's more likely to go for 40 than he is to foul out.
See, you're getting me frustrated because then it's like, if your numbers guy like Jenkins is, that's math. The math says that you should trust your guy. Okay. This is a Pro Jenkins podcast. We'll take a break after that.
Welcome to the dark side. Come on, welcome to the dark side.
No, you can't do it. You can't do it. I got my guy. I liked him since he was the fat baby face. If he can coach him to a win tonight, that would be pretty cool.
I will tweet out encouragement and appreciation of Taylor Jenkins 100%.
I think 3 or 4 Spurs might go for double figures though.
All 5, starting 5. I mean, they're playing against a bunch of guys that are going to be playing at East Sportia in Lakeland next week,
It's like they're a bad team, and they're going to be playing the pickup guys that we play with on the weekends. It's not going to be good. We're going to take a quick break, and then after this, we're going to talk about Saturday night. Is that
Saturday
you
night.
there? You were in the building, and one of the 3 best Grizzlies to ever wear the jersey, in my opinion. Big Spain after this break.
Not just the level of individual talent that he plays with, but it's also the level of his mind. We haven't gotten cross-court open shot this year. Right. We haven't seen that pass a lot. Number one, you got to respect him going to the basket. There's a roller. I got to watch the roller. He has the mind to be able to say, I see all of that, and now I see this guy over here. I'm going to get him this open shot. How shifty he is to always be going forward. It's usually side to side. Yeah. His dribble moves are side to side, but going forward. Right. Which is very hard to defend. I just want to get you, as many times can I get you to do this? But for him, it's not here. It is here, which is are his moves to get down the floor. It's awkward for a defender to try to catch a cadence. You dribble. So now what I do is when you go put that ball down, I'm going for it. But with him, it's hard for my cadence. But what's my cadence for you? I don't know what it is.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Who do you need to step it up? Outside of David Jones, I think David Jones is David Jones.
I don't think you need him to step it up because he's been performing.
Yeah, he's David Jones. Outside of him, he's fine.
I think Quinterly needs to play better.
In what way? He's facilitating the ball well. What do you, I don't.
2 at 12 from the field's not cutting it.
It's not great. It's not great.
And I don't need a runner 3 from the top of the key with 3.5 seconds left.
Is Virginia the game where Jordan Brown is going to cook? Those dudes aren't looking to run the ball.
Cook what? Dude, I thought he was going to have a freaking night. He came out with that fresh cut, lined up, and then literally within the first 15 seconds missed a wide open layup, and then picked up 2 fouls right away.
I feel real lied to because I thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy.
Didn't think it did anything for you.
Well, I think
we all thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy. And we are getting that in David Jones.
I'm not even getting 20 or 10 minutes out of the guy.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Nobody knows the second verse of that song I sang at the beginning, so I'm not going to sing it again because I would have ruined it. But welcome back to the Daily Grind. This next part of the show, we're going to just talk about Big Spain, brother. Who would be, in my opinion, the best Grizzly ever if it weren't for Zebo? I wasn't in the building. You were, which is freaking awesome. So cool. I just saw clips, and I was in my feels just watching the clips. What was it like being in the building, dude?
Well, once we got that abhorrent basketball game out of the way, because we just got bombed by the Sixers, and that's all I want to say about it. It was one of the more emotional, just nostalgic things I've ever done. Me, my co-host Drew, his wife Haley, my girlfriend Maggie, we were there, first row, upper deck, perfect seats, right behind where the jersey came up. I mean, they were great seats. Dude, I've never in my sports fandom felt what I felt Saturday night. Just feeling that nostalgia when all four, they called them out like they used to coming off the bench. And Mike and Mark and Zebo and Tony came out and sat out there and swapped stories, just some old hats swapping stories. And then seeing, Rudy was there and Coupon and John Lure and freaking Beno Udre, one of my favorite guys of all time, was there. Beno, like Beno when you need him, right? Like playoff Beno was there. And Dave Yeager was, like, it was just so cool seeing the guys that were there supporting Mark. And then Powell talking, Mark talking. You could just tell it meant a lot to the Gasol family. Yeah. And they kept showing clip after clip. And I'm like, who is cutting onions in here? Because it is killing me, right? It was just
bad, man.
Nostalgic, like in our fields, right? And it just took me back to those core 4 years of just dominating basketball, watching Zebo, getting his buckets and Mark facilitating. It was such an electric environment. And such a just like it was very reverent. Like honestly, it was like very reverent when Mark was talking and they were doing the ceremony. Like it was kind of like it was electric. You could feel the buzz, but it was just hushed. And it was such a cool moment for the franchise. And seeing the core four together was big. Mark was incredible. Just a great all around night. I could go on and on.
Man, I didn't know they were going to do. I didn't know how they do those ceremonies. I didn't know they were going to bring them all four out and just have them sit and talk. I don't know if there's another. I mean, you'd have to go back to find teams that you could do that with. I don't know if there's a group of guys you can just put on stage and let them riff because they were that close and that of one mind, And
it was never awkward. They just they were able to spitball, and it was different because when they retired, I was at Zebo's December of 21. They retired Zebo's. Drew and I were there for that one. It was more of a party. It was more, they had like 2/3 of 3-6 was there, 8-ball, MJG, all of them were there doing their thing, which they did that during halftime this time. And then they had more of like a what felt more like for Mark, because that was for Zebo. It was more of a party and they didn't do as much talking. And that's how Zebo, it fits. Mark was more of a sit-down interview, and it did. And they were just chopping it up around the coffee table, telling stories, ragging on each other. One cool thing, and it's made the rounds on Twitter, but Dylan Brooks was in one of the tribute videos. Like a villain DB would drop some lines for the tribute video, and had a great anecdote saying that, in true Memphis fashion, Mark did not call him by his name his entire rookie year, just called him fool. And which tracks have you seen the documentary? Because Mark learned English through Project Pat, 3-6, Memphis rappers. Yeah, that's how he learned English in middle school, and so it tracks that he would be straight up 901, calling him a fool for his entire rookie year. But yeah, you're right, man. Even the 90s Bulls or the Spurs teams of the early 2000s, late 90s, I don't think had the chemistry even that we had. Even though we weren't the championship caliber team, that chemistry was second to none.
Yeah, and the just understanding of what they were there to do, you don't see that anymore in basketball at all, where everyone shows up and knows, just accepts and does their role. And those four did it. They were all better than what they let themselves play. They could have all gone and been good stat, bad team guy, but they were so much better together. I'm going to the Tony Allen one. I'm not going to miss that one.
Yeah, and I'll be at Mike's. I'll be there. I'll be at Mike's, and even TA, it was funny. They even talked about that. They were talking about their roles on the team, and TA was like, yeah, Mark yelled at me in some Spanish. I didn't know what he was saying. I just knew I was shooting too much.
Man, the fact that Powell was there too, that's just, are those the two best Spanish basketball players ever? I mean, there's such a legacy with that family.
And it was cool watching because Santi, he grew up in Spain, huge, big Spain fan. He was one of the only current players, and there was some beef about it on Twitter. Missed me with that. Y'all just trying to start some stuff. Yes, the young guys left probably to give the old hats their moment, right? Because if they're standing there, you're going to be watching what Dez and Jaren are doing during the ceremony, but they went to the locker room, watching it on TV in there, I'm sure. But Santi stayed out there for the whole thing because that was his childhood hero, and that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, so I guarantee half the kids in the stadium aren't aware of who the four are, really. They're gonna if they see Desmond Bain, they're gonna look at Desmond Bain. They're not gonna, and they're gonna Desmond Bain. That's my baby talk. Yeah. But that's Santi, man. I can't imagine being him and playing for the Grizzlies. Because I remember when Mark won Defensive Player of the Year. I just remember him doing the Conor McGregor walk was like a global phenomenon. You know, like you would see that on the NBA championship commercials.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's pretty awesome for like a big, like the high school pictures and middle school pictures of Mark are the best things that have ever existed ever, of him chubby and just kind of big. The fact that that kid who was learning English, like the way that he did, it's so, his story, his trajectory, it's one of the best the NBA has. Like I just think it's really, really, really special. And so few players like retire with like, I don't know. It's real. I don't know. Special. And you were in the building, man.
It's so cool. They showed his championship ring where it's that grit and grind on the band, and like they showed a lot of his Spanish basketball videos, which I know meant the world to Santi because they grew up in Barcelona too, and showed a lot of those development videos of him growing up and making the decision to come to Memphis. And Powell spoke about that, about growing up in Spain with their parents and the sacrifices they made, and it was just like. Again, man, I like sports connect people. Sports are very unique in how they, music, sports like reach across generational lines. Right. And I think anybody in that building would see like the specialness that basketball has to the Gasol family and the Gasol family has to Memphis, because just that connection there. They talked about all their, their charity work with St. Jude and the giving back that the Gasols have done and what they continue to do in Memphis.
His parents are lovely.
Lovely people, sweet people. He had his wife and kids up there, his 2 daughters up there. This is a bold talk. I'm a bit biased, but I would want a better representative of our franchise. And I can think of few people who represent their franchise better than Marc Gasol does.
The fact that he got grit and grind on his Toronto Raptors ring. Yeah. I don't know anyone that's ever done that. Like, if they do that, they don't go and talk about it because they're like ashamed of it. He's proud. Like he's the GOAT. He's one of the GOATs for the Grizzlies. He is Memphis. God, I love him. We're going to take one more break. And when we get back, we'll talk about what we've been watching other than the documentary. I don't know what you've been watching, and you don't know. I'm excited for mine. All right. Right after this break, we will Cuban Tuesday.
I'm just big on being able to vocalize what someone's role is. I always thought my best coaches were the people that let me know exactly what you expect from me. Now, I might not like it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. But if you come to me man to man to say, this is how we think we're going to play you, bang, bang, bang. And hopefully everybody understands. I'm not saying that this has not been done with this team. I'm just saying from my experience, we all have egos when we get to this game. Right. All of us. To the last person on the bench, you got an ego. But all of us can't be the man. Yeah. You got to be able to say, okay, he's the man, but what do I do and what can I do to help us be good? And if it's vocalized to you, then you know exactly and if I'm out there doing it and now I'm not getting the result from you, now we got to sit down and have another conversation. But as long as it is told to you, this is what we expect from you, this is how we want you to play, then I feel like, again, keeping his logo. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. All right, Christian.
Yes.
You are Penny Hardaway.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Today, you're going to play act, okay? Gabe, because you're a Jordan Brown apologist, you're going to be Jordan Brown.
I'm a Jordan Brown apologist. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Y'all are sitting across the room from each other.
I said, don't tweet him hate. And he's like, you're an apologist. Like, good God. But either way, continue. We're in a room together.
Why did things break down?
Jordan, we brought you in this year to be the centerpiece of our offense. You came in out of shape. Let's call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. We play fast. Told you this when we were recruiting you. We play fast. One of the fastest paces in the country. You have to be able to get up and down the floor. You have failed at that.
Oh, well, I'm leaving. So it's fine. Cool.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. There we go. That was better. Welcome back, y'all. I just sent you this. It was ruled that acted in self-defense when he punched that kid.
I just saw that.
I think he even says punched teenager in the, which is really funny to say self-defense and punch teenager in the same sentence.
Right. Yeah. It's sad that his mama can't sue John no more.
Well, to be fair, I bet the teenagers are little shits, and I bet the judge knew it. And I bet there's a 13-year-old in this house right now, and he's the nastiest little, like
he earned it.
He's at school. Like, good God, man. I was on solo duty with him last week.
Goodness.
I lost like 5 pounds. Hey, God, all solo parents out there, more power to you.
Yeah, there's 0% chance I could be a teacher because I'd be in a similar situation.
My mom does it, man. She would come home and just tell me stories, and I'd be like, "What?
Yeah,
enough about teachers and moms." Tubin Tuesday time.
That's right.
Dang it! Well, Tubin Tuesdays where we talk about what we're watching, what we're gonna watch, what we have watched. I'll go first. I'm going to see Kong X Godzilla tonight.
Oh, let's go.
Because I love those movies. And in this one, I think that the bad Godzilla has a magic whip that controls an evil Godzilla. And sign me up. That sounds so cool. And I have so many questions. And I just really hope there's not a lot of humans talking.
Just give me fighting.
Yeah, because I love all these monster movies. The only one I liked where they talked a lot was the 70s Kong one where they were on the island. It was like Vietnam. It was really cool. But otherwise, I just want to see big monsters destroying cities and fighting each other and having magic whips that control other evil creatures. And
I'm here for it, man.
It's not explained.
I was talking about this recently. I was obsessed with dinosaurs when I was a kid, so I'm very pro Godzilla. I love the Godzilla movies. I'm all for God. I will always root for Godzilla. He's a badass. I'll always be Team Godzilla. I saw a funny meme the other day, and it was showing how Godzilla needed to be built to be walking in the ocean like he does. So it's like Godzilla and it's like legs that are like that long.
Dude, it's so perfect because they don't explain any of it. They're like, how did Rio de Janeiro blow up from a volcano? How did I don't even care. Sure. And it looks like Rio de Janeiro's back in the new one.
Probably.
That's just bad editing, and I don't even care.
I don't even care.
I don't. I'm here for the monsters. Well, what are you watching? What have you watched?
So I'm not a huge TV watcher. I watched all the March Madness, but girlfriend Maggie and I recently watched an old favorite of mine, man. Like the 80s movies and music and stuff are just so much better. And we watched The Burbs the other night for the first time in a long time with Tom Hanks. It's a weird movie. It's one of my favorite comedies. It was so funny watching Tom Hanks get so bent out of shape thinking his neighbors are serial killers, which he may or may not be right. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it. If you hadn't seen it yet, it came out in 1989. Go watch the movie.
Go watch The Burbs.
The Burbs, great. Shameless plug. Young Tom Hanks too. I mean, he's like early 20s in this movie, and also Carrie Fisher. Did not realize Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, is in that movie.
Dude, Carrie Fisher, low key, awesome comedic actress. Like she's in When Harry Met Sally, and she's just so good.
Yep.
The young Tom Hanks is a lot that I don't think enough people know Tom Hanks from his young stuff. They've only seen the new stuff. Like he was great in like that Turner and Hooch.
Turner and Hooch.
Turner and Hooch is great. Spoiler alert: go watch Turner and Hooch because what they do to poor Hooch is garbage. That's where don't get me started on poor Hooch. But go see young Tom Hanks because that's a dude that might be one of the best actors still alive.
Funny. Just such a wide variety. Even like everybody knows him for Forrest Gump and The Green Mile and these, but even like predating that, like you said, Turner and Hooch, Splash, the only Disney movie with nudity in it. Great movie. The Burbs, like there's so many like young Tom Hanks movies that are slept on that people just don't remember or hadn't seen.
Yeah. I mean, I like it because it was The Hangover before The Hangover. Is it Bachelor Party?
Bachelor Party. Oh my gosh!
It used to come up Central in the 90s. That's how I saw it.
Yeah,
but he was also handsome. I don't think that a lot of people saw him as like a young, handsome leading man. But when he had those kind of like longer hair and it wasn't all like premium dad haircut,
right? Yeah,
he just makes dad movies now. Like every movie 100%. Is for dads. Like Sully.
Like the last one was probably You Got Mail, and then after that it was just dad movies.
You Got Mail. I forgot about you. Remember AOL, Instant Messenger?
Yeah, absolutely. They're emailing each other back and forth. I was talking about my first ever AOL Instant Messenger name. Growing up, when I was a kid, my name is Rusty. My parents did not think that through. There's so many things that Rusty that aren't great. So my middle school nickname was Musty. My first ever AOL Instant Messenger name was Big Musty 22. Let's go.
That's how people get kidnapped on the internet.
100%.
Hey, Musty. God, Musty. Musty's the worst one you could have picked that rhymed with Rusty.
And it stuck. I just owned it because what else you gonna do? It's middle school boys calling you that. Like you just gotta own it, man. It's gotta own it.
Shout out to you for owning it because musty is about the best word I would use to describe teenage boys. They're just walking, talking must.
Right, exactly. With
Shout out
body
must.
spray.
Yeah. Hey, they still make that.
That's wild, man.
And it smells just as bad now as it did then. It's true.
Nothing says I punch drywall like Axe body spray.
Thank you for tuning into the show, guys. We will see you all tomorrow when, I don't know, it's Wednesday. We'll talk about if we win this game or not. Thank you for don't punch drywall, kids. If you go down that road, it goes down a lot of other roads. You're not going to like them. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for watching the show.